Lenny, who had been watching, imitated George exactly. He pushed himself back, drew up his knees, embraced them, looked over to George to see whether he had it just right. When his Aunt Clara died, Lenny just come along with me out workin'. Got kinda used to each other after a little while. Come on in and set a while, Crooks said. Long as you won't get out and leave me alone, you might as well set down. George can tell you screwy things and it don't matter. It's just the talking. That's all. I said, what stake you got in this guy? You taking his pay away from him? No, course I ain't. Why you think I'm selling him out? Well, I never seen one guy take so much trouble for another guy. I just like to know what your interest is. A guy on a ranch don't never listen nor he don't ask no questions. I seen the guys that go around on the ranches alone. That ain't no good. They don't have no fun. After a long time they get mean. They get wantin' to fight all the time. Tonight I'm gonna lay right here and look up. I like it. Behind him walked his opposite, a huge man, shapeless of face, with large, pale eyes, and wide, sloping shoulders, and he walked heavily, dragging his feet a little, the way a bear drags his paws. His arms did not swing at his sides, but hung loosely. Lenny said, I thought you was mad at me, George. No, said George. No, Lenny, I ain't mad. I never been mad and I ain't now. That's a thing I want you to know. Lenny dabbled his big paw in the water and wiggled his fingers so the water arose in little splashes, rings widened across the pool o the other side and came back again. Lenny watched them go. Look, George. Look what I done. I was only foolin', George. I don't want no ketchup. I wouldn't eat no ketchup if it was right here beside me. If it was here, you could have some. But I wouldn't eat none, George. I'd leave it all for you. You could cover your beans with it and I wouldn't touch none of it. But the Hebrew word, the word timshel, thou mayest, that gives a choice. Maybe we all have in us a secret pond where evil and ugly things germinate and grow strong. But this culture is fenced and the swimming brood climbs up only to fall back. Might it not be that in the dark pools of some men the evil grows strong enough to wriggle over the fence and swim free? Even God can have a preference, can he? Let's suppose God liked lamb better than vegetables. I think I do myself. Cain brought him a bunch of carrots maybe. And God said, I don't like this. Try again. Bring me something I like and I'll set you up alongside your brother. But Cain got mad. His feelings were hurt. And when a man's feelings are hurt he wants to strike at something and Abel was in the way of his anger. Sometimes a man wants to be stupid if it lets him do a thing his cleverness forbids. When a child first catches adults out, when it first walks into his grave little head that adults do not have divine intelligence, that their judgments are not always wise, their thinking true, their sentences just, his world falls into panic desolation. The gods are fallen and all safety gone. Monsters are variations from the accepted normal to a greater or a less degree. As a child may be born without an arm, so one may be born without kindness or the potential of conscience. We have only one story. All novels, all poetry, are built on the never-ending contest in ourselves of good and evil. And it occurs to me that evil must constantly respawn, while virtue is immortal. And this I believe, that the free, exploring mind of the individual human is the most valuable thing in the world. And this I would fight for, the freedom of the mind to take any direction it wishes undirected. And this I must fight against, any idea, religion, or government which limits or destroys the individual. I thought I had inherited both the scars of the fire and the impurities which made the fire necessary, all inherited, I thought. All inherited. There's a gentility on the road. A direct or personal question is out of bounds. But this is simple good manners anywhere in the world. There is absolutely nothing to take the place of a good man. The great get-together symbol is the cup of coffee. I find out of long experience that I admire all nations and hate all governments, and nowhere is my natural anarchism more aroused than at national borders. I know people who are so immersed in road maps that they never see the countryside they pass through, and others who, having traced a route, are held to it as through held by flanged wheels to rails. Everything in the world must have design or the human mind rejects it. But in addition it must have purpose or the human conscience shies away from it. This journey has been like a full dinner of many courses set before a starving man. At first he tries to eat all of everything, but as the meal progresses he finds he must forego some things to keep his appetite and his taste buds functioning. It is the nature of a man as he grows older, a small bride in time, to protest against change, particularly change for the better. Only through imitation do we develop toward originality. I suppose our capacity for self-delusion is boundless. And all plans, safeguards, policing, and coercion are fruitless. We find after years of struggle that we do not take a trip takes us. We value virtue but do not discuss it. The honest bookkeeper, the faithful wife, the earnest scholar get little of our attention compared to the embezzler, the tramp, the cheat. A journey is a person itself, no two are alike. Who has not known a journey to be over and done before the traveler returns? The reverse is also true. Many a trip continues long after movement in time and space have ceased. A dog, particularly an exotic like Charlie, is a bond between strangers. A sad soul can kill you quicker, far quicker, than a germ. Curious how a place unvisited can take such hold on the mind so that the very name sets up a ringing. When people are engaged in something they are not proud of, they do not welcome witnesses. I wonder why progress looks so much like destruction. All of the time Juana had been trying to rescue something of the old piece, of the time before the pearl. But now it was gone and there was no retrieving it. And knowing this, she abandoned the past instantly. In the pearl he saw Coyotito sitting at a little desk in a school, just as Kino had once seen it through an open door. And Coyotito was dressed in a jacket and he had on a white collar and a broad silken tie. But the pearls were accidents, and the finding of one was luck, a little pat on the back by God or the gods or both. In his mind a new song had come, the song of evil, the music of the enemy, of any foe of the family, a savage, secret, dangerous melody, and underneath, the song of the family cried plaintively. In the town they tell the story of the great pearl, how it was found and how it was lost again. My son will read and open the books, and my son will write and will know writing. And my son will make numbers, and these things will make us free because he will know, and through him we will know. This was part of the family song too. It was all part. Sometimes it rose to an aching chord that caught the throat, saying this is safety, this is warmth, this is the whole. All manner of people grew interested in Kino, people with things to sell and people with favors to ask. In the surface of the great pearl he could see dreams form. He picked the pearl from the dying flesh and held it in his palm, and he turned it over and saw that its curve was perfect. And then Kino's brain cleared from its red concentration and he knew the sound, the keening, moaning, rising hysterical cry from the little cave in the side of the stone mountain, the cry of death. She looked up at him, her eyes as cold as the eyes of a lioness. This was Juana's first baby, this was nearly everything there was in Juana's world. And Kino saw her determination and the music of the family sounded in his head with a steely tone. The people say that the two seemed to be removed from human experience, that they had gone through pain and had come out on the other side, that there was almost a magical protection about them. Here is your pearl. I found it in the path. Can you hear me now? Here is your pearl. Can you understand? You have killed a man. We must go away. They will come for us, can you understand? We must be gone before daylight comes. Oh, my brother, an insult has been put on me that is deeper than my life. For on the beach my canoe is broken, my house is burned, and in the brush a dead man lies. Every escape is cut off. You must hide us, my brother. If a man ordered a beer milkshake he'd better do it in a town where he wasn't known. It has always seemed strange to me, the things we admire in men, kindness and generosity, openness, honesty, understanding and feeling, are the concomitants of failure in our system. And those traits we detest, sharpness, greed, acquisitiveness, meanness, egotism and self-interest, are the traits of success. And while men admire the quality of the first they love the produce of the second. Doc would listen to any kind of nonsense and turn it into wisdom. His mind had no horizon and his sympathy had no warp. He could talk to children, telling them very profound things so that they understood. He lived in a world of wonders, of excitement. He was concupiscent as a rabbit and gentle as hell. Everyone who knew him was indebted to him. And everyone who thought of him thought next, I really must do something nice for document. A man with a beard was always a little suspect anyway. You couldn't say you wore a beard because you liked a beard. People didn't like you for telling the truth. You had to say you had a scar so you couldn't shave. He can kill anything for need, but he could not even hurt a feeling for pleasure. It was deeply a part of Lee's kindness and understanding that man's right to kill himself is inviolable, but sometimes a friend can make it unnecessary.